It's Hollywood's favorite night. It's every film buff's Super Bowl. It's a very euphoric day. It's a day where regular folks become legends and talented people show off the great thing they work. Whether you're an actor, director, cinematographer, costume designer, makeup artist, in the home realm, we spend one night to celebrate the great things about movies across the world. And I need to have a great expert with me to discuss the 2022 Oscars, the 94th Annual Academy Awards. And we have a talented actor, musician, video game enthusiast, and all-around great gentleman. Chris Bailey has joined me again on this show to talk all things Oscars. Chris, so happy to see you, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very happy to be asked to come back to talk about something that I'm really passionate about.
Well, we're happy to have you. I genuinely enjoy looking at your reviews, and feel free to follow Chris to see those reviews throughout the whole year. And what's that Instagram?
That Instagram is Chris B, CHRISB 1129.
All right. So, yes, as I said, Chris, you're a very talented individual. So, we're so glad to have you. And as I said in my intro, there's no reason why I don't think one day you can hold one of these statues yourself. I really genuinely believe that. And I figure for now, as we, reflect on this year of movies, both the good and the bad, in a time where the beginning of the year, people weren't able to get in the theaters because of the pandemic. And a year later, we are starting to see movies break box office records again. So I just wanted to say, what was the year for movies for you before we get into the nominated ones for Oscars?
So like basically just my experience, like
Yeah,
with the movies.
yeah, exactly. What do you think? Between now and last year, do you think you got to take in a lot of the best work out there, not only in America but throughout the entire world? Do you feel like it was a good year for movies in general? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I mean, to talk about a little bit just of like my return, I guess, to going to the movie theaters. I'm a very, very avid movie theater goer. It's like one of my favorite things to do. I feel very at peace at a theater.
Tell me about it.
Whether it's with friends or just even by myself. So I would say obviously 2020 rough for everybody, and movie theaters were basically closed, and I mean that continued into 2021. I'm pretty sure for a while. I can't be for certain if it was my movie back, but I think Quiet Place 2, and I think it may have been Quiet Place 2 because that was the first review I did like ever. And so that may have been my return to AMC.
All right. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was nice to come back. I was excited at the prospect of a good year, and I think we got a very good year, at least from what I saw. Whether it was the Oscar nominated movies we're about to talk about, or even just ones that weren't nominated, I think overall there was a lot of original stories. We got our fair share of sort of smaller indie intimate films, and then on the other end of the spectrum we got our Spider-Man No Way Homes,
yes,
our bigger sort of blockbusters,
the Eternals and all that.
Yeah, I know Marvel, usually that's usually Marvel's thing, and I feel like, I mean, I've seen a lot of speculation about it, and I mean, I don't know if it's true or not, but people are speculating that like these Marvel movies are they're sort of keeping theaters alive a little bit in a sense, because as much as some people want to rag on them, they get people in the seats and they get people paying for tickets to come and see it live and in person. So I'm grateful if that's the case. I also enjoy those films. But yeah, I think we got a really nice blend of very diverse stories this year.
Yeah, and I feel like for me too, I really, especially within 2020 and 2021, that I really learned how valuable a good movie and story is. And now for the rest of my life, it was starting to go that direction when the pandemic started. Then pretty much this year is like, yeah, you can have me watch any movie in any genre, any time period it came out, black and white, animated, documentary, foreign language, all of that. And I think what was also good about the movie theater coming back, whether you went for a Marvel movie, that was my first. I actually didn't return to the theater officially. I did. Ironically, it was for Anthony Bourdain's doc, which could be enough. That was the first movie I went back to the theater, and then then I didn't go back for another like 5 months, and then No Way Home was the first movie I actually came back to the theater, and I was able to watch most of these movies, or I watched all the Best Pictures and a lot of other scattered films that were interesting through streaming services, and some I just rented. And I think that's really cool, a really cool option. Now I prefer the theater, but I also moved this year, as I was talking to you about, and still, to be honest, I don't even know my go-to theater yet. We're in Jersey City, but in general, it's just great to have the movie theater back because it shows that it's fair. I think it's fair to say, with some exceptions, we're over the hump with the pandemic while still being cautious and cautiously optimistic. But I think this was a great sign that society's on the right track to coming back. And it also just shows the movies won't die. I think there was a good topic of discussion last year that our movie theater is going to be around. And I didn't necessarily believe that, but, people made good points. But now when mandates were being lifted, people went to the movies. And that's what's great from here on out. And now that we do have so many streaming services, it's great just to have so many options, is both the good and the bad. I think that's really one thing that I really learned to take in this year, is a good, bad movie as well. I could watch, not necessarily now with bad quality wise, doesn't mean I dislike it, but you really do need to watch everything to what is good and not. I think that's what's really cool that I got out of this year, watching movies.
Even a good bad movie, you can recognize its flaws, but I don't know, it's hard to be truly harsh on it, because even if it's bad but it brings you some sort of joy in a sense, then honestly, that's I feel like that's a win for the film and for the creative team. Even if it's to quickly jump back to the small reviews that I do.
Yes.
They're very stream of consciousness or whatever. And there are times where I'll discuss cons in the reviews, because I think, every movie has flaws. No movie is perfect, but it's I have a hard time truly bagging on a film, because a lot of them, even if they're not the best film, have something to offer. And if I were to get super into writing some sort of blog or whatever, then I could get maybe more into the negatives, but I like focusing on what the movie gave to me in a positive way.
I totally agree. And also being in the industry, both of us, our experiences, that's also some jobs for some people. I've never necessarily been on a film that got just totally panned, but I feel that that did pay for my my bills and stuff. But I think it's just fair to point out the good and the bad, because that's just what, it's kind of weird saying that's what makes the movie human, but I mean, it really does. That's what, just helps us understand what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. And like I said, a bad movie doesn't necessarily mean you dislike it.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are definitely some that I've seen that I wish I had my time back, but that's very rare. Like you said, there's something to get out of everything. You could watch The Room with Tommy Wiseau and still appreciate, well, this is the Passion Project. It shows you could do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So really,
The Room is a one of the greatest bad movies ever.
yeah, when I saw someone when he mixed vodka and scotch together for a drink, I knew, yeah, this is built different.
Yeah, this is not your average romance.
Well, having said all that and getting ready for what we're about to do, this Sunday is, like I said, the 94th Annual Academy Awards,
Mm-hmm.
where we've had movies that, like you said, featured so many different communities. Um, if we're focusing on the best pictures, that'll be the first thing we talk about. Is we're gonna predict the nominations and we're gonna see how accurate we are. But the best pictures have themes like whether you have the deaf community featured or the LGBTQI plus community, or you have a thriller set in the 30s, or a remake of a relevant musical.
Mm-hmm.
If you somehow made a relationship between a photographer and a high schooler somehow make a little sense. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
And that's what's awesome. And like I said, it's so easy to access these movies now for a fair, affordable price, some easier than others. But I think this was a great year for movies. And why don't we get into it right now with our predictions, Mr. Bailey?
Cool.
So, why don't we first focus on the Best Picture nominations? There are 10 of these this year.
Uh-huh.
When you look at this list, what do you think of the movies as a whole before we pick where we see the votes going?
Sort of kind of what I said before. Looking at the list, the first thing that pops to mind is just the very diverse group of stories we have here, and how some are, we have a nice mixture of. I mean, I would say the majority of these are lean more towards the drama category.
Right.
Um, but when it comes to the subject matter, I think they're bouncing all over the place, and I really enjoy that. We have very intimate stories, and then we have stories that involve sort of a bit more production and costume, a bit more attention into some elements that need to be bigger because of sort of the landscape of each film. I mean, it's exciting. I won't lie. I missed a couple of them. I can comment on the majority of them, and even the ones that I did miss, I sort of have basic knowledge on what kind of stories they are, and how I think they would sort of fare up against the competition that they're up against.
Excellent. Yeah, like I said, we're not exactly here to be Harvard scholar, pretentious film
Yeah.
critics. We're not Cisco and Eberts. We're just two dudes who just love movies.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's how I see that here. And like I said, you know what you're talking about when watching a movie with your great reviews you put out there. So I'm really excited to see how you think this all fares together. So focusing on the Best Picture nominations.
Yes.
May I ask, Chris, out of these 9 pictures or 10 pictures, who do you think is going to take it? Who do you think created? Who is winning the Best Picture? Who's the very best movie, according to the Academy, of 2021?
Sure. This honestly, I mean, I could see it going a couple different ways. I can tell you right off the bat. Now I thought this was a good movie, but I don't know if I think it deserved a Best Picture nom at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna cross off Don't Look Up.
Yeah.
If I had to cross off any of those,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw Don't Look Up, and I enjoyed it. Great cast. Good comedy, although I will say that I feel like I mean I watched it around Christmas time, so it's a couple months ago, but I feel
Mm-hmm.
like some of the jokes didn't exactly land here and there.
Yeah.
And it was enjoyable, but I was sort of surprised when it was nominated for Best Picture.
Me too. I thought it was fine. I don't know if it was Best Picture good, but I kind of agree with you. It's definitely a bit overrated.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off.
I was just saying, I think maybe this would have worked. There's just so many A-listers in this, like
Yeah.
stacked, and they're all good actors, but it was hard to see them as some of these people as characters because of how stacked the lineup is. But these Adam McKay movies, he always has huge A-list casts. I think that was one of the flaws of it. But I would like to hear what else you have on this.
Sure. So maybe you could help me out with. I'll start off with the ones that I didn't see,
Mhm.
just so I can maybe offer some sort of comment, and then maybe if you wanted to give me some insight on what you thought, and
Great.
then after that, the ones that I did see, I think I could definitely narrow down at least like two.
I'm with it.
So the ones I didn't get a chance to see, unfortunately, were Belfast, West Side Story, and what was it? King Richard.
Okay. So are you saying how I see them?
Yeah, I
Well,
was just because I understand what each of these stories are, and I could even without seeing them, just from the hype that they were given, or sort of other people's perception of it. Like even when you don't see a movie, you can sort of tell that it's like either good or bad, or
right.
kind of. Um, like I get an overall vibe that all three of those are definitely contenders in a way. Like Belfast seems like a very sweet story about a young boy's upbringing, and his family during a very tumultuous time in Ireland.
Yeah, war-torn Northern Ireland in the late
Um,
60s.
yeah, and then King Richard. I mean, a lot of the things I've heard about King Richard is mostly about Will Smith, but the rise of Venus and Serena Williams, and the man who sort of fought for them and believed in them. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of
Oh
these.
yeah, no, that's definitely a good take on this. And I think also with King Richard too, it just shows how much is it okay to push your kids so much to pretty much abuse, but it equals them being one of the greatest at their craft. In this case
Yeah,
here, and it's clearly a true story. And I think that's a good dynamic. Like, how far should a parent push their kids? Pretty much, that's the biggest theme out of it. And honestly, just with how the story flows and with such a powerful Will Smith performance, it is a question worth contemplating, even though morally you should say, no, you shouldn't push your kids this crazy. But is there a way to, I don't know, not be so obsessive about it? It's kind
yeah,
of deep in that sense, but
cool.
overall very entertaining. And at the end of the day, you can tell that it's just a dad who loves his kid so much, just wants what's best. And that's just the character flaw. Like, how do I get them out of this situation in dangerous Compton and lead them to the right path, but also on that journey, do you too get a bit over your set head, a bit over your head?
Yeah, no, definitely. So and then West Side was the last one, and obviously that one's Steven Spielberg tackling a iconic American musical.
Mhm.
Um, just from I've seen clips of a couple of these, and I mean it's obviously it looks stunning. The singing is wonderful. The choreography is top notch. Um, and I think I'm not gonna lie, I was a little hesitant not that it wouldn't be good, West Side Story, because I knew it would be good, but just because it is a remake, like I just overall prefer like an original story, or even if it's not original, if it's adapted like from some sort of book or whatever, that is the first iteration of it that we're getting. Although I mean, I would still like, I definitely would like to check it out, and I do think there's like even without seeing it, just knowing how well crafted it is, from the bits and pieces of it I've seen, and because it's Steven Spielberg, I do think there is a shot for it. And I don't know if you agree or not.
Actually, so I saw West Side Story, and I really encourage people to watch it. It's probably the most surprising outcome for me in a movie, and I will stand by this. I really think this is just as good, if not better, than the original. It's very different than the 61, the original one. And the way Tony Kushner wrote the film, or adapted it, I should say, it oddly is a completely, not, I don't know, completely maybe a strong word, but maybe not too. It is a much different movie. I can tell you that. It's a much different movie while still being the same. And just the way it's presented and shot, and all these up and comers being a star. And I understand some of the concerns with its lead and Ansel Elgort too, which I do think sadly takes away some of the steam due to some of the allegations made against him.
Yeah.
Besides that, it's really great. I will go as far to say really great. I don't know do you letterbox?
I do. I have a letterbox.
I think we might follow each other. That may have. Was that brought up the last time?
I don't know if we do. No, I got it. I forget if I got it before or after we had our first chat.
Oh, okay. Well, I can add you right at the end of this, but it's a 5-star rating. I gave it 4.5 stars, and I stick by it. It was really, really good. It's pretty breathtaking too. And besides the concerns I mentioned, it's just really good. I'd love to hear your output. Available on HBO Max and Disney Plus right now. It's really good. I have to say that.
Yeah, I do. I definitely will be checking it out when I can.
Mm-hmm.
And now in regards to the other movies on this list.
Oh, wait, Chris, can I just, before you get into it, one last thing I forgot to say. Sure. One thing with Belfast, you have Jamie Duran in it, who played Christian Grey and was very bad in it, acting wise. But this, he almost stole the show. This is like, so this what happens when you have really good direction and great writing. And it shows that he actually is a very talented actor from what I saw. I want to point that out. Shouts to Jamie Duran. Christian Grey, he's got something.
No, yeah, I mean, not to dwell on that, but like, yeah, I feel like you know, a specific piece can bring out the best in actors, and like, you know, I feel like 50 Shades of Grey took a lot of shit because, like, I mean, and I think it kind of deserves it.
Yeah,
but like, because it's, you know, it's like adult fiction. It's based off adult fiction, and like, it's not the best. It's not helmed to the best of its ability.
It's pretty silly when you really look at it.
You really like sit down and analyze it, but yeah, like you know, actors are more than like, or they can be more than like the worst thing you've seen them in. Like they're like, even if you didn't like them in one thing, maybe something went into that, you know, sort of influenced that performance, and whether it be the writing, the directing, or maybe they're just actually bad.
Right.
But I think in a lot of actors' cases, it's like if you see them in something that you didn't like, there's a good chance that maybe something was going on behind the scenes, or maybe it was just, you know. And then, you know, if you jump into something else, you're like, wow, they were amazing in that. It's like maybe there was just more passion there, but from everyone involved, you know.
Oh, totally agree. And it just shows, I think it just shows how important good writing is. And if you have the talent, you'll be able to pull it off. So what were your other comments regarding the Best Picture nominees?
So I saw the rest of these. can honestly say I enjoyed all of them in some fashion. It's hard. It's like I feel like I have ones that I want to win, and then there's ones that I think probably might take it.
Okay, what are the ones you want to win and ones that you think will win?
So I mean, I honestly my top pick I think is Coda.
Yeah, actually, that was gonna be mine too.
Like I think that I would like that to win, and I think it could because it did. I believe it won. Did it win a
Producers
SAG
Guild.
award?
Yeah, well, I think that, and it also won Producers Guild. And the way, for those who don't know, the same voters, the academies, they're voted on based on your profession. Producers do Best Picture, actors do actors, directors do directors, and so on and so forth. So it sometimes they parallel, not every time, but like if they win the Producers Guild, they're usually the same voters unless something changed. So I'll put that out there. But yes, you were saying they did win SAG for Best Cast, I believe.
Yeah.
And then the Producers Guild, they took the Best Picture.
Cool. Yeah. So I mean, it was funny. I watched that. I watched that movie not in the best setting for it. I was on a plane. And I was just there was no TVs on the plane, but they had like movies that you could like get on your phone, and Coda was on there, and I was like, oh, this is nominated, like I should watch this. And I was almost turned off by it because of just I didn't feel like watching on my phone, but I got so engrossed in it, like
Yeah,
right
how about
that I watched the entire thing on my flight to the point where the flight landed. I still had some time left, and I was like, please, like, don't let the Wi-Fi go out because like
that?
I want to finish this. I did, yeah. I thought it was just a very like simple, beautiful story about like trying to, you know, be loyal to your family while also trying to like spread your wings and like get out there and like pursue undiscovered passions. And I mean the cast was just it was a very moving, heartfelt piece. I highly recommend it to everyone.
Oh, absolutely. This was by far my favorite, and the film I think ultimately deserves the Best Picture. And and for those who don't know, it's based on a girl who lives in Massachusetts, who, and CODA stands for Child of Deaf Adults, and she's the only one in her family can actually hear. Both their parents are deaf, and older brother. At the same time, she's trying to go to Berklee School of Music, pursuing that career. And one of the ironies is their parents literally don't understand, and they can't hear her talents and why she get to go to college. We see how that all unfolds. And yeah, it was very moving the way I saw it. It's keeping my list of best pictures to keep up with. It was just a Friday night after work. I didn't have any plans. I'll put this on. I forgot I had Apple Plus. So they charged me my $5.99. Might as well take advantage of it. And I was very moving, very emotional at times, very funny, very funny.
Oh, very funny.
And I think it's just a nice family movie that could capture any audience in a nice. I think it's only about like only 90 minutes or like 100 minutes, so it's easy.
Yeah.
You can bang it out and get some real legitimate stars out of it. And I think there's no reason why it shouldn't get this praise, and be awesome to see. And a movie mostly shot in American Sign Language is really cool, a really cool aspect. And it's not a cliche crutch of the film, like, oh, look at us, we're hearing impaired, feel bad. It's not like that. It shows that they're just regular people. Like one of the best scenes is when she hears, it's not a major spoiler, but when she hears her parents having sex, the point of it is, deaf people have sex too, like anyone else, and they're passionate their love. And that's like just an easy, simple scene that shows how like they're everyone else. And You don't have to make it so specific and you feel that it's just part of life. And I think that's a huge plus to the writer and director for that.
Yeah, 100%. Like they don't make it. They obviously the proper people were helming this because they never make it like a gimmick or like a like these are like they focus on deafness, but they never there's at no point are they sort of mocking it, or it's just, as you said, it's just a story that that involves deaf people, and it's it's made out to be like any other family. It's just
they just have a different human experience than those who hear, and I think that's easily apparent without being corny about it.
Yes.
So with that, so you and I both are team Coda for this.
Yes.
But regarding the other best pictures too, you mentioned there were some you liked and some you might see winning. Can you elaborate a little more on those and on the other noms?
Sure. I mean, in regards to I mean, before I get into that, I think if I'm talking about the ones that I didn't see, I could see I honestly could see all three of them potentially doing it, more so West Side Story, I think, just because of the name behind it and the big sort of fanfare of it all.
Yeah. And with the fact that it's rare that a remake is better than its original. I can't think of any examples, at least off the top of my head. And I think that's a feat worth pointing out.
Yeah. And then in regards to the other ones, like I feel like each of these movies on this list, like there's something about it that makes them like best picture worthy. If I'm talking about what I truly think could win, I feel like the biggest one, other than Coda, for me at least, is Power the Dog. Just because of, I know the director, Jane Champion.
Yep.
There's a lot of hype behind her making this movie. I feel like I thought it was very well done. I thought it was it was slow in a good way to where I felt like they were fully building this sort of worlds that they threw us in. Thought the performances were great. I like how they broke up the acts into or not acts, but they broke up the story into chapters. And it seems like a movie that would garner best picture praise as well. I could say the same thing about Nightmare Alley. I feel like very, completely different story, but very big on like immersing you in the atmosphere. And I mean, both of those movies, once again, have very, very talented casts. It's just interesting to think about like what would be going through the heads of the Academy or the voters, like what spoke to them this year, I guess. And I mean, all these stories are so different that it's a kind of a little bit of a toss up, I feel like.
Yeah, I think it makes a fair point with those. For me, though, Power of the Dog was good. It was a little bit too slow for me.
Okay.
And I just felt I did see something going, and I do think it was just directed very well. It was just, for me personally, it's a little slow. It was a point where sometimes I was bored and almost lost interest, even though the thing is there was a twist ending that I won't well, I guess whoops. But it ends a little differently than you expect, and I think that it's almost a saving grace for it. And if the ending didn't happen, I might go as far to say just didn't like it. But I think for me, and I understand where people are coming from with it, especially the performances. I just wasn't feeling it as I did for the others. But
Okay.
Nightmare Alley was also really good, and that's also a remake from more from the late 40s.
Yeah.
And it was cool seeing Bradley Cooper again and Guillermo del Toro switching it up. And I just love me a good old school neo noir mystery added a little more.
Yeah, no, that was I really enjoyed the vibe of Nightmare Alley a lot. In regards to the three that we haven't talked about, I think there's all each of these have qualities that could make it the winner. Licorice Pizza was very sweet, slice of life.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, didn't exactly follow, a through line of a plot, which I think would maybe turn some people away. I personally don't mind. I like watching, sort of reminds me of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in a sense where it's obviously completely different movies, but you sort of get these good characters, a good dialogue, and you just see all the shenanigans and
Right, and the setting almost speaks for itself with
yeah,
it.
and it's so well written that I found myself fully engaged. Whether it will win Best Picture, I don't know. With Licorice Pizza, I would be excited if it did, but I don't know if it will. And then in regard, Dune was a big spectacle of last year. I know it was
Right.
a very people were definitely talking about it. Another absolutely insane cast and a exceptional director in Denis Villeneuve. I'm a big fan of his,
Oh
and
yeah.
um, Dune. I really had a blast. I felt like I was fully on Arrakis, and they did a nice job of building that world. Um, it it did feel like my biggest thing with Dune. I love the performances. I enjoyed the story. I was unfamiliar with the book. I've never read the book, um,
Mm-hmm.
and it did feel like a lot of lead up to a sequel. Like once it ended, it felt like a big like lead up to a sequel, which is fine. Um, and I don't know if that will affect its chances this Sunday, but I think overall I really liked it, but I think the second one will add a lot more, and maybe because it's a sequel and because it seems like they're only going to do a part two, it might be a story that sort of stands on its own a little more, um, and doesn't feel like it needs to set up a sequel, because I don't think there's going to be one after that.
No, yeah, I think the book's like the original book. It's based on. I have it right here, like a nice big 412-page novel, which is a lot for a novel, at least. And yeah, I know like the backstory is like they used to think this was an almost unadaptable book to film. I know they did a movie in the 80s that has more of a cult following, but not the critical acclaim it was looking for.
Yeah.
And that's one that I'm a bit bummed out that I didn't see in the theater, but it was
Yeah.
really intriguing, and especially visually. And also just back to Licorice Pizza, I enjoyed that PTA Anderson. Anyone who's a real film buff loves their Paul Thomas Anderson. They always have a take on him, and quote waiting to see him get recognized by the Academy. Now I do think there are other better PTA movies out there, but this was just sweet. And well, it's not nostalgic for me because I wasn't born in the 70s, but
Yeah.
I felt like I was in that world easily. And it would be nice to see him get recognized if that's the one. Even if it's that cliched Oscar, this is your Oscar for just a great body of work for so many years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, it's that it would I would fully accept that too. I think there is a lot to love about it. So if it did win, I would taking licorice pizza with open arms.
Yes, yes,
Um,
yes.
and then finally, I think the only one we haven't touched on is Drive My Car.
Yes.
Um, very, very deep and
Mm-hmm.
sort of felt like a meditation on like just a bunch of different things on like grief, loss, um, you
What
know,
happens when you have a lot of time to think about stuff?
yeah, like trying to like pull together um like the broken pieces of yourself. Like it was very like melancholic too.
Yeah,
Like
it's very somber as well.
yeah, it was very like it's the Drive My Car's there. I think Drive My Car was special because, and I think this goes for a lot of the movies in this category. You sort of feel like a fly on the wall, just like watching like just legitimate conversations of real people happening. And I think that's a testament towards the the performances and the directing and all that. Um, I thought all of the performances in Drive My Car were very, very beautiful and they really captured like the longing of trying to accept the hardships that they've gone in their lives. Each character had sort of their own you know they each had to deal with their past and in a different in different ways, and it by the time we got to the end it felt very cathartic in a sense, like we've sort of been on a journey with these characters just trying to like get by, figure themselves out, and I think they help each other through it, especially the main like the actor slash director of Uncle Vanya, who's our lead, and his driver, um, and just like trying to let go, and but at the same time, you know, remembering like letting go, but also trying not to forget.
Yes, and
Like were themes of the piece as a whole.
for sure. Now that definitely talk about slow burns. It's just about 3 hour movie.
Yeah.
I think this is a movie you really can enjoy if you enjoy dialogue and acting. And this is a movie from Japan, so it is completely in Japanese. But the subtitles,
Korean or
I believe so. Right here, I have it right here. Yes, it's from Japan.
oh okay.
Cool. So, anyways, but regardless, I think this movie, anybody who's gone through a rough time can really understand what this guy's going through, and then the companion in it as well. And I mean, there's like just even just some good metaphors in it, and there's a lot to take in. It's really well shot, even just some of these highway shots of these great plains of Japan. It's quite beautiful. And I understand for those who don't have the patience, that sucks, but you're missing out on a movie that we all just want to make sense of when things that we can't control and go our way, like sadly, whether we lose someone important in our lives. I think that can help ease things, and that's what's good about movies that help. They help give examples of the world to understand that we're not alone and we all have these type of feelings. So I think that's the best praise we could give for Drive My Car. But yeah, we pretty much gave a good perspective on these nominations. We're both for Team Coda with this, and let's hope we're right.
Yeah, definitely full. I would definitely put all my eggs in the Coda basket.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think a bunch of these are worthy of the top prize, and I'm excited to see how it pans out.
Yeah, you wouldn't exactly throw a fit if this didn't wound up working out. If a certain one of these movies won.
Wait, I feel like that is the case some years, but not this year.
Not this year, not at all. Not at all. One bit. So I'm just regarding this. Are there any movies that you feel were snubbed out of the best picture category? Like for me, Spider-Man Far From Home. Why'd you snub it? Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people started talking about that, and I mean, I can see it, but I feel like I guess I never let myself get too attached to that idea because I know that
Yes.
I know we have some Marvel nominations in special effects
Mm-hmm.
or visual effects, I should say. But yeah, I didn't let my. I mean, I love No Way Home. I saw it 3 times.
Oh yeah, sorry, No Way Home. Did I say Far From Home? My bad. No Way
I
Home.
mean, it's like it sounds basically the same.
Yeah, right.
But but I sort of figured we weren't gonna get that, and honestly, I'm not mad about it. Um, it's fine. I thought it was a blast. I don't know how it would, how it would be up against the movies we have. It's very different, obviously, but
Yeah. And yeah, part of me was kind of kidding with that, but no, I mean not necessarily because it is a good movie. Um, and like I said, we see before Black Panther got a Best Picture nomination, and
yeah,
that's it so far. But that was just all just simply the most fun I had in a theater all year, and I will go really far with No Way Home. Even just give it. I mean, you could just throw nominations there. I think one problem is not everybody's a huge film buff like you and me, Chris. And not a lot of people, I should say that not everyone has seen most of these films or even heard of it. But if
yeah,
you throw a Spider-Man No Way Home or a huge mainstream film, you have more people give a reason to care about the Oscars and stuff. That's just how it is every year.
yeah.
And too bad they didn't have Space Jam: A New Legacy get a Best Picture nomination with LeBron.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I feel like all the movies that were involved deserve deserve the praise. I There was a couple. A24 had a couple other movies that I feel like I would have appreciated if they included a bit more.
Oh yeah, the
The
I'm blanking. I just saw. I shouldn't be blanking because I saw it last week with Shane Black.
Shane Black.
Not Shane Black. I'll have it right here.
Oh, is it what, Red Rocket
Yeah,
maybe?
Red Rocket.
Yeah, there's that one. That one's more I think was a snub, and I mean we can get into this when we tackle the category, but I guess touch on it in a second. Is I feel like Simon Rex definitely should have been nominated for what is it? I guess it would be leading role, but I guess at the same
Yeah, for definitely a Best Actor nomination, he was snubbed out of that. I agree with you. And then the director I was thinking of was Sean Baker.
yeah. At the same time, though, when I look at actor in a leading role, it's like the talent is sort of off the charts.
Mhm.
There, I mean, but I think Simon Rex could, I think he could hold his own with that performance.
Yeah, and it's a good way to show the. It's pretty much about a porn star who comes home and nobody cares, but I think it shows that it's just a relatable story about coming home and getting
Yeah,
ready for the next chapter and coming home and
trying.
understanding there aren't there are rights to be there are wrongs to be right and stuff like that. I think that should have got more love, like you said.
Just like trying to. I'm still on Red Rocket, but like the idea of coming home and like you're sort of after your peak and like trying to remain relevant and like trying to make steps towards like getting back to like your like glory days and um yeah, it was an interesting story. Sean Baker has a cool offers us a cool lens into like um I feel like stories that we don't often see. He did
Mhm.
similar stuff with like Florida Project and stuff like that.
Yeah, and also Tangerine, which was one of
Yeah,
my favorite movies that I saw in the pandemic. This guy clearly knows what he's doing. And then, I mean, anything, most of the time, anything A24 brings out is gold.
yeah,
And also shouts to it being a New York City, East Coast studio as well, so shows that
Yeah.
it doesn't have to 100% be Hollywood for that. And yeah, I think that's also a missed opportunity in terms of Best Picture noms.
Uh-huh.
Cool. So I wanted to transition to the director category.
Sure.
And with the 5 nominations, whether Jan Champion, heavy favorite, Paul Thomas Anderson with Licorice Pizza, and Champion directs The Power of the Dog. You have, I'm going to try this. I apologize in advance. Rizuki Hamaguchi for Drive My Car. Again, I try again. Rizuki Hamaguchi. And then we have Kenneth Branagh on Belfast and Steven Spielberg for the 20th time, probably, with the West Side Story. With these nominations, Chris, who do you think is going to be winning the Best Director a nod?
A lot of these categories, it's so hard. I could see it going so many different ways.
Yeah.
But at least on my sheet, just based off of, I don't even really know what I'm basing this off of, but I feel like West Side Story might take that. It's just a feeling.
Yeah, I actually think on the same path with you. First of all, again, to pull off the feat to make a movie that came out 60 years ago as relevant as ever, you also have the movie looking absolutely spectacular. Just the shots of bringing emotions, what Spielberg was able to get out of his actors,
Yeah.
has to be given credit to. And as I mentioned, for a remake that is slightly different than the original, the way it flows together and being so entertaining makes this almost 2.5 hour picture go by really quick.
Yeah. And then I think I also included Jane Champion in the
Mhm.
audience because I feel like she did a really nice job with Power of the Dog. Seemed like as well as like what you just said, she got a lot out of the performances. She really knew how to like I'm trying to think of specific things.
Like some of
A
those
lot
great
of like
plane shots they get out of and bringing that nice Western feel.
yes,
Um,
just like
definitely.
shots of the mountains and um yeah, I felt like it seemed very cohesive. I
Right.
was like, well, it's always good when you're able to understand, you know, the through line of a story, and I feel like she got a lot of great performances out of her team, and overall, just a very beautiful looking movie. You could tell a lot of thought went into, you know, each and every shot.
All right. Great work there. Now, if we go to the acting categories, we'll start with the male actors. So, with Best Actor here, you have Javier Bardem and being the Ricardos, Benedict Cumberbatch with The Power of the Dog, Andrew Garfield in Tick Tick Boom, Will Smith in King Richard, and Denzel Washington with The Tragedy of Macbeth. You have quite a group of legendary male actors right here. Chris, I know this is going to be hard, but if you had to pick, who do you want to win? Or who do you see winning? Or both?
I have both. Honestly, I gotta for who I want to win. I gotta go with my boy Andrew. For,
Andrew Garfield. What a year he's had. Tell me
yeah,
about why do you think the British actor can win this Oscar?
I mean I think he's such a talented dude. He just very he I feel like he just fully embodied. I mean, all of these actors did, but I just felt his performance was very electric and like it was very. He was just he got so into it. You could tell he's very passionate about this, and I mean you could see it in interviews and whatnot. And he just yeah, number one, wonderful voice. Didn't know had no idea he could even sing until I knew he was doing this movie. And he just brought a lot of emotional depth to Jonathan, to a person who existed. You could tell he, did his research, and he paid, I think, a wonderful tribute to a composer who was just gone way too soon. And he handled the music well. He was able to transition from comedy to more of the dramatic elements with ease. He just each frame, he was just exciting to watch. He's always exciting to watch, and I don't know if he'll take it, but I would love it if he did. I'd be very happy. And then I also said that I thought it seems like, at least from what I've heard, the front runner is Will Smith. So I feel like there's a high chance he takes that.
Yes, first, I love Tick Tick Boom a lot. That turned into probably my favorite movie musical of all time right now. No recency bias aside. And I also think Lin-Manuel Miranda was snubbed as a Best Director nomination for Tick Tick Boom as well. And this person who allegedly had no training whatsoever in singing, who pulled out the pipes for such a fun, awesome movie that just with music that slaps that he continues to contribute to. This is his second nomination, and if not for this, we will see this guy hold a gold statue sooner or later.
Yeah.
And if this is the one, I would love that too. But I also think with Will Smith, where in a character who played another real person, where he completely get lost in the character, it deserves a lot of praise about a hard-nosed dad that has a lot of emotions, and one that really isn't talked about as much. And I understand, it's a complex character, but a classic one. Denzel Washington is Lord Macbeth. Even though that movie didn't get a lot of love from the Academy, I think they at least did it justice by giving a Denzel nod. And even with that old English that can be quite complicated to follow sometimes, his physical presence, the way he had his body language throughout, you could see this scumbag be too power hungry. And I think that should be noted. But throughout the other nominations, and you can make an argument for Benedict Cumberbatch as well, playing a very vulnerable, naive cowboy who's clearly confused on what he likes and dislikes. And I really didn't understand Javier Bardem's nomination, to be honest with you. I did like being the Ricardos, but Best Actor nod, nah. So with that, I actually say, Will Smith is gonna have an Oscar to his name, which is really cool.
Yeah. That is my prediction of who will win. And that would be cool. Will Smith is a great actor. He seems like a cool dude.
For real.
Just to touch on Denzel too, I think there's definitely, I think he's obviously definitely, I think, in the running as well. I really enjoyed Tragedy of Macbeth, and yeah, even with the heightened text, I feel like he was able to accomplish. He was able to communicate language that's hard to understand in a way that you could feel his overall tone by just the way he was able to, the way he moved around and the way he spoke. You could even if you don't understand every single word, you can grasp the overall idea.
Yeah.
And I think he communicated that very well. And I think he definitely deserves to be there. I'm not sure if this is another Denzel win this year.
Okay. I hear that. Great points for sure. Now we're going to the female acting categories. The Best Actress. Whether it's Jessica Chastain in The Eyes of Tammy Faye, not a good movie in my opinion, but the performances from him and Andrew Garfield again
Yeah.
were apparent. Olivia Colman continuing her streak of great work, whether TV or the screen. This time in The Lost Daughter. Penelope Cruz in Parallel Mothers. I can't say I saw that, but I like Penelope Cruz.
Yeah.
But I also saw Nicole Kidman in Being the Ricardos as Lucille Ball and Kristen Stewart as in Spencer as Princess Diana. Mm-hmm. Who is going to be the female actor with the bragging rights of winning a Best Actress, Chris?
So I was a little bad with this one. I didn't get a chance to watch any of these.
That's okay.
Mainly because I didn't really know where to find them at the time. And then I think as of recently, they got dropped on some streaming services.
Right. May I make a suggested one awesome app if you're looking to find anything that you may or may not know about yet? It's called Just Watch. And they should definitely pay advertising out of this. Just kidding. Or not really. But it's just pretty much a Google search for any movie or TV show you want. I'm showing it on the screen now. You could pick anything. If we were going to look for Spencer, for instance, I go do Spencer, and then bam, it has it for me right here, available on Hulu and Disney Plus. Or I should say, it's the part of the Disney Plus bundle, but it's specifically on Hulu. Okay. And then they also have renting options if you want to pay $3.99 through your Apple TV, or if you go to the Redbox, if there's even still those, they're still out there, you could go there. But yeah, if you ever, I bring it up only if you're ever lost in trying to figure out where a movie or TV show's playing, you just type it in right there, and then everybody's happy.
Yeah. I mean, I guess. I'm familiar with all of these actresses. I think they're all wonderful.
Yeah. What is your gut telling you, Chris?
My gut's telling me that I want Kristen Stewart to win because I just feel like she's taken a lot of shit, and from what I've heard, she's very good.
Yeah, she is a very, very good actor who's evolved from a young child star to this, and she's more than just Twilight. I'll tell you that.
So I mean, I could see her taking it, but I think I also put that Nicole Kidman might take it because you can't go wrong with Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, I think it is a battle between those two. The vet and Nicole Kidman, who has won before, and then Kristen Stewart, who was very, very mesmerizing. You really felt for Princess Diana after seeing her performance in it. And I guess if I had to flip a coin, I would also have to put Kristen Stewart because she played somebody who was just went through so much. And also Lucille Ball did as well, and, kicked ass at the end. But I think for somebody who really portrayed that vulnerability, I think that should be recognized.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with the supporting actor category, though, we have Ciarán Hinds. I apologize if I messed that up. Ciarán Hinds. Okay, it's actually Ciarán Hinds. Ciarán, I don't know. I will be more prepared the next time. Can he win in Belfast? Or Tony Couture in Coda? Jesse Plemons in Power of the Dog? J.K. Simmons in Being the Ricardos? Cody Smith Mcphee in The Power of the Dog as well. And for me, I really think Tony Couture in Coda should be recognized for his work playing the father of the singer in Coda. He's also a deaf actor. Maybe he could be the first ever male deaf actor to win an Oscar. His co-lead in, I should not forget this name, but I do.
Marlee Matlin, right?
Yes, she won back in the 80s for Kiss of the Spider Woman, I think. And we have this guy who plays a dad who's, again, very, very funny in it. a character who brings a lot of emotion out of me, and somebody who's just trying to understand what's going on. And what's cool is, if you've seen the show, I do references during my openings, and I picked the scene between him and his daughter, a scene between him and his daughter. For this one, it'd be a major spoiler if I explained it, but I just picked a scene between those two. And I think the guy was very nuanced in his role, and something I haven't seen much of. And I think it'd be an awesome recognition for this guy's hard work if he pulls it off.
I agree. It was just a very, like you said, nuanced performance that ebbed and flowed and felt like a fully realized person. Like, if it didn't feel like a character, and that's how you always love to see that. He tackled the comedy super well, and then when it was time to sort of, be there for his family or be there for his daughter, like those emotional moments really hit hard, because you fully felt that this was a family, like a real family that cared for each other and had been through a lot, just trying to survive and get by and keep on living. And I do think he deserves. I would go with him. I think a second place for me would probably be Cody Smith McPhee, because I thought his performance is very, very understated, but also very powerful. It's a very timid. He played a very timid character that was also a bit more powerful than I think you would realize. I think he held power within himself, the power of the dog.
I see what you did there.
And yeah, I thought it was a very, it wasn't. I really enjoy performances that are very, toned back, but you get a lot from it. Like, you can just tell by their eyes and their face that you can sort of get in their head a little bit, see how they're feeling. And I thought he did a really nice job with that. Yeah, those are probably the two for me. I can't comment on J.K. Simmons and Kieran Hines or Hins. Jesse Plemons. I'm a big fan of Jesse Plemons, but I don't know if this is his year for that.
Yeah, I didn't. Though very good, I didn't feel I was watching a Best Supporting Actor performance, but he should win soon. From the guy who was the bully in Like Mike to this.
I forgot. Isn't that?
All right. And I actually did like J.K. Simmons. Well, J.K. Simmons too. He's very, very important in being the Ricardos, but also I didn't expect a Best Actor or Best Supporting Actor nom in that sense. But who knows? Maybe he can get it again. And let's just go, Tony, for the Best Supporting Actress category. Whether it's Jessie Buckley in The Lost Daughter, Ariana DeBose in West Side Story, Dame Judi Dench still at it with Belfast, Kirsten Dunst with The Power of the Dog, and okay, I'll try this again. A new, oh boy, a Yoonjanu. We're gonna go with Miss Ellis on this. I apologize, and trust me, this will never happen again. Messing the names of this, but we have her and King Richard, and blame Brandy Price. For me, I think it's Ariana DeBose playing Anita. Obviously, an iconic role. Rita Moreno played Anita and won an Oscar as well, but she added a whole new twist, playing the mother figure and somebody who's ready to take feminism in a whole powerful, convincing manner, especially with characters that are very masculine. Yeah. And obviously she knows how to sing and dance, which is no question what you need if you're going to play Anita. But I think what's the word I'm looking for? Almost wholesomeness that she brought to the role. And I think she just played an immigrant very, very well. And especially an immigrant in, the late 1950s from Puerto Rico. I think she helped us understand their world a little more with that. So please, Academy, provide Miss DeBose with an Academy Award. What do you say?
Um, honestly, my gut, even though I haven't seen it, is telling me Ariana DeBose as well. Although I could see, I could see, all these are all very talented actresses. Obviously, like you can't go wrong with Judi Dench. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought Kirsten Dunst honestly gave me a performance I wasn't expecting from her. I know she's very talented, but she really sort of blew me away in Power of the Dog. Um,
Yes, she wasn't in.
trying to adapt to this new environment where she's definitely not welcome, especially in the eyes of Benedict Cumberbatch's character. Um, and her trying to tackle, being there for her son while also getting sucked into, you know, alcoholism and just a tiny bit of a spoiler, but not really. But yeah, trying to balance that while also caring for the people she loves is. I thought she really balanced all of that really well. It fully came across on screen.
Oh,
But I
yes.
will but I will go with Ariana DeBose because it I don't know, it's sort of just a gut feeling like I've had for some of the other ones.
Hey, you gotta go with your gut most of the time. I'll never forget. I was taking some standardized test in my junior year, and I got the answer right. But I asked I asked, I pretty much was just implying that I get it right. And the teacher was a co-teacher in this class, and she said, "Go with your gut." And I got that question right.
Mm.
And I only got to be on the test, but I learned go with your gut all the time, and maybe that's the case here.
Yeah.
So that pretty much wraps up the acting categories. And one I always look forward to is the writing. And
Yeah.
we'll first go with original screenplay, which includes Belfast, Don't Look Up, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, The Worst Person in the World, which was awesome. Were you able to see all of these? Did you get a chance to see all of them?
Uh well, I didn't see the ones we've already talked about, and then Worst Person in the World is on my list. I have not gotten around to it.
That movie is awesome. That was really, really great. I rented that. Which country did that? It's another international flick. It came from Norway. It's a Norwegian film. So
I've really wanted to check that one out.
yeah, it's like for anybody who's been online dating, this has nothing to do with online dating, but it's definitely about relationships. They're figuring
Yeah.
out stuff. That's what I got a kick out of watching it. But anyways, with the best original screenplay, where do you
I,
see this going?
honestly, I'd like to see PTA win this one, I think.
Yes, I
Yeah.
think he has for all the nominations. This is a best fit for him to actually win his first Oscar. Though I did really like The Worst Person in the World. I think the two nominees, Eskil Vogt or Joachim Trier, I think they might have a good shot with winning it too. And
Well,
maybe even Kevin Branagh, who's also been in Hollywood forever, and
yeah.
maybe this can be a way to recognize his good work. That'd be good. I definitely don't Look Up. I think I'd be disappointed if that won for a movie where I felt the screenplay was all over the place. Though
Yeah.
it had one of my favorite Leo lines ever: "The president is fucking lying." But yeah, anything but Don't Look Up, I'd be fine with. But please give it to PTA. Any other
Yeah.
comments regarding this category?
No, I don't think so.
Now we go to the adapted one with Coda, and with Coda, Drive My Car, Dune, The Lost Daughter, and The Power of the Dog. Which adapted screenplay with all its characterization and plots and dialogue and all of that?
Hmm.
Who do you think, man or woman, will win this amazing adapted screenplay Oscar?
Um, my gut wants to say that just based off the sheer scale of it, And because it juggles so many different characters and so many different landscapes, I want to go with Dune just because I know how thick the subject matter is, and I think they did a really nice job of, as I said, I've never read it, but they did a nice job of what I assume would be condensing the book to its most important parts and giving us a first movie that really sets up a really fascinating world that will not only be a fun story in and of itself, but also get audiences excited for what's to come. I think Villeneuve and the rest of the team did a nice job of incorporating all the most important bits and making it coherent and fluid.
I think you hit the nail on the head for a movie that really is so dense and sometimes overwhelming. A screenplay that made characters seem so cool, made things and sequences so badass. Dune winning a best adapted screenplay is definitely on the horizon, but I'm going to take it a little different direction for my view. I think Coda, with again, that successfully made characters that are so relatable, that made dialogue and situation so funny and heartfelt, with just some awesome characters. Obviously, the family, the both the mentor and choir teacher, for anybody who's ever had a choir teacher in their life, like who really pushes you hard. That's who that character is, played by the great Eugenio Derbez. Oh man, I promise. Again, the name pronunciation is gonna get better. But anyways, I think Coda was able to be the most relevant in this category to win it, and I hope Sian Heder wins that award.
Cool.
So just a couple more things before we wrap it up. For the animated feature, you had Enchanto and Flea, Luca, Mitchells versus the Machines, and you had Raya and the Last Dragon. You have mostly family-friendly films. Got some great Disney flicks in there and Sony, which is cool. I don't know if you happen to see Flea. Did you happen to see Flea by any chance?
I didn't.
Flea is really awesome. It's another international film. It's a Danish one specifically, but it's about a man named Eamon Nawabi who shares a hidden past fleeing his country for the first time. So it's a refugee story that is beautifully animated and really heartfelt. And I think that should actually win the best animated films, though Encanto was really fun. And Luca, I did not see the Mitchells versus the Machines. I missed out on that and Raya and the Last Dragon. But if it were up to me, let's go with Flea.
Cool. I could have done such a better job of seeing some of these.
Mm-hmm.
Time just got away from me.
Hey, it's all good. That's why we're here. We're here for predictions, to show our love and just talk movies.
Cool. I really enjoyed Luca a lot. I thought it was beautifully animated. I loved the Porto Rosso, Italy that they gave.
Yes.
That they gave. It looked so crisp and beautiful.
I love how Disney animated movies now, they're picking a country and we're going to make a movie based on that culture.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was very sweet. I really bought into the friendship between Luca and Alberto.
Yeah.
And I liked all of the other supporting cast and had a really fun villain. It really sweet story. I heard Mitchells and the Machines was a blast, so I definitely would like to check that out. Same thing with Raya and the Last Dragon. I still need to see Encanto, but I know it's Lin-Manuel Miranda. I've heard great things about it. I've heard that song on TikTok about 10,000 times.
Of course. Good showing the Colombian cultures too.
And I can guess without even having seen it, that I think Encanto will take the prize.
All right. Great, great work. Now, just a couple more categories. We have first the best cinematography. For those who don't know, this is awarded for the cinematographer who's in charge of the ultimate look of the film, director of photography. So, but from lens decisions to lighting to all different shots to depth of field, anything you see on screen in a live action movie, the director and the cinematographer team up to get the overall look of the film. So whether that's Dune, Nightmare Alley, Power of the Dog, Tragedy of Macbeth, and West Side Story, if I had to pick, Dune really makes a push with that. And it was shot by Greg Fraser for that.
Mhm.
I mean, you really can make an argument for anything. You could literally just do a randomizer and who's going to win wins.
Yeah.
And for me, I would have to go with Janusz Kaminski to win his third best cinematography win with West Side Story. I mean, just so luscious and just how dark in a place. And like, for those who don't know, West Side Story, where Lincoln Center is where West Side Story is originally set. It used to be San Juan. It used to be called San Juan Hill. And it was one of the early gentrification examples of gentrification. It kicked a lot of Puerto Ricans out, unfortunately, and they made Lincoln Center. But you see this setting under construction and makes it like a legit war zone, and it's just 59th Street, West 59th Street. And it's or I should say more like West 60th, 60 through 63rd, stuff like that. And I think just the way that's presented is really chilling. It really is like, yo, shit's about to go down here between the Sharks and the Jets. But again, also think Dune makes a push. And Nightmare Alley, I think, is just so with the the circus themes and bringing that 40s feel. And I love neo noir films. They don't make as much as they do anymore, but that clearly gets that setting correct. So if I had to pick for all that at once, West Side Story is the one.
Cool. Yeah, honestly, I think this is the hardest one for me to pick
Right.
because, as you said, I think there's an argument for why each of these um, should win. Um, Even not having seen West Side Story, I know just based off of what I have seen that it's vibrant and it's very lush and gorgeous to look at. And I mean, I feel like that can be said about every single one. There's shots in each of these films that are mind-numbingly beautiful to behold.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I feel like the director of photography for each of these films really utilized the settings and their locations to the best of their advantage. They really knew how to get the best out of the landscapes they were given, the ones that they had sort of scouted out for I assume they scouted out during this process. I'm gonna this is really really hard. I think I'll go with, well, on my sheet I marked down Dune.
Okay.
I could just because between the use of practical and CGI effects and getting them into each of these frames, the way that they were able to use effects to get an overall scope of these planets that we're going to and whatnot, and just the grandiose nature of these environments. I feel like the director of photography really nailed it when and I think they definitely deserve to take home the prize for that.
All right. This is why I appreciate you, Chris. Really great takes there. I mean, again, we can be here for everyone, break down every single category, but think we do get a gist of what we're feeling here. Is there
Yeah.
any other category you do want to make comment towards, or any big snub that we may have missed or anything?
Let me see. Yeah, we definitely talked about, you know, sort of, you know, the bigger ones, I guess.
Right. And I will say one thing, every single person, there's not no category is more important than the other. Everybody deserves praise for what they do, even if we didn't hit their specific categories. But I just want to point that out there. But yeah, I mean, visual effects, I hope Spider-Man No Way Home takes that as a win, that it could get an Oscar win. Or,
Yeah,
if we
that'd be
went
cool.
with hair and makeup, I really like Coming to America. If I had to
Okay.
pick with all the with from all the Eddie Murphy transformations alone, it's awesome. And then with
Yeah.
costume design, I think Dune definitely should take that, or West Side Story, bringing that 50s feel. And in Dune, it was pretty simple yet
Oh, I did have one
with
maybe
that.
that we could talk about.
Of course,
One potential snub that I'm
tell me about it.
curious about your thoughts on. What did you see House of Gucci?
I did.
Dude, what do we think of the Lady Gaga? Because it was speculated that she was going to be like a front runner, and then no nomination came as a big surprise. So I'm curious as to your thoughts on that.
Well, it'll be easy for me to switch it out with Penelope Cruz because I haven't seen Parallel Mothers. But yeah, for somebody who played a very conniving woman in that House of Gucci, that was very disgusting, that was very conniving, and almost like, what's your problem?
Yeah,
Not that bad of a
very
guy, is he?
manipulated Maurizio or Adam Driver's character, and then sort of, but at the same time, you got to think she has her own life, and she's doing these things for a reason. She wants to be better, and she wants to climb the hierarchy of this family. So
Yeah, exactly. She just played a classic gold digger, and by the way, her character is Patrizia Reggiani.
yeah,
And I think that was definitely unfair. Even though House of Gucci, I felt dragged at points, and
I agree.
the I could see why it's lack of nominations in general. Though I
Yeah,
think the main cast is good, especially Jared Leto. I really like Tim, and I like anything Adam Driver does pretty much. But yeah, I do think Lady Gaga was snubbed ultimately. And another snub that I think should be accounted for, you have Mike Feist, who played Riff in West Side Story. That was the biggest snub. First of all, this guy from Ohio who pulled off such a great New York accent. And, when you play Riff, you play somebody who's an asshole and a villain, and he's the bad devil on the good devil, bad devil side to Tony. And he
yeah,
really, almost like, man, it's weird that the story's not based on you, but you're stealing the show. I really think that I really want to see what this guy does for the rest of his career. Mike Feist, like, that was a huge snub. And maybe I would take him out for Jesse Plemons
okay.
for Rift. That's what I would say. Big snub there. And especially Chris, please, when you get the chance to see it on Disney Plus or HBO Max, please tell me what you think, and especially how Riff was. That was my favorite part, was Riff.
I will. It's funny. I actually saw Mike Feist in Dear Evan Hansen when he was in the Broadway
Oh
production.
yeah.
Yeah, he was excellent. So I'm happy to see that he's taken on a huge role in a film directed by one of the greats.
Oh yeah. This dude was on point, and he, like I said, he almost stole the show with it.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, is there anything else we missed here with the categories or anything?
I mean, I feel like production design, I sort of feel the same way about that as I do with cinematography.
Yes, yes.
Um, I feel like I could see it going in literally any direction.
Yes,
Um,
and then the categories there are West Side Story, Tragedy in Macbeth, Power of the Dog, Nightmare Alley, and Dune. And
Yeah.
for me, I would have to go with Nightmare Alley with the production design, because that was a completely different world that, with a mixed with it almost teaming up, going hand in with the cinematography, makes it almost a world that I want to be in.
Yes.
And I think for me, Nightmare Alley should win the production design. I would love to hear more on what you think with that category.
Yeah, no, I agree. I put Nightmare Alley down for costume design as well, just because it really it felt like it encapsulated that 40s vibe that they were going for. And I think the production and the set work, uh, I sort of feel the same way as I do about the costumes. They really immerse you into,
Ooh.
or they really bring you to that time period. And it was very dark, but not in like a dull way at times. It was gritty, but they provided some, some vibrancy. Um, they really the production and on all the sets and that carnival feel helped make the movie feel fully alive. I felt like,
Alive.
yeah.
That's the best part, when we feel alive after watching a movie.
But as I said, I feel like all five of those movies um, could could end up taking it. Some of these are really hard to decide.
Yeah, like you said at the top, this was a great year for movies, and the nominations really make it a tight run for everybody. And on top of that, being all diverse, can't ask for anything better with an Oscar year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, with that, Chris, we pretty much hit everything we needed to.
Yeah.
This is why you're incredible at what you do and your great takes. And I appreciate you taking the time. This hour really did flow by. And then we'll check back in on, we're going to record Monday to release on Tuesday. And we'll
Cool.
see how well we did. And
Yeah.
then I will do, get at me, get at Chris. We pulled it off. So we'll start our road to being the best at picking the Oscars.
That's the clairvoyance into Oscar's future.
That's what I'm talking about. We're going to be handicappers after this. All right, then. But Chris, thank you so much for coming on. Don't forget to follow Chris on, again, what's that Instagram?
It's Chris B1129, CHRISB1129.
All right. Beautiful. Chris Bailey, you're the man. I'll see you in a few days. Enjoy your weekend and keep being the cool dude you are.
Thanks, Matt. I'm looking forward to discussing the results on Monday.
It's going to be excellent. All right, Chris, you have a great rest of your night. See you.
You too, man. Bye.
Bye-bye.